What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Picks Nation DraftKings edition for UFC Fight Night in good old Houston. Once again, Price here. Before I get into everything, make sure you head over to WeWantPicks.com. Sign up, become a premium member. You can use promo code ADP for 10% off of your first month. $10 a month to get access to the DraftKings Optimizer, my full article. You have the best ownership projections in the entire space, all for the cheapest price point in the entire space. Everything else is like 5 to 6 times the cost of this. You get anything you can think of as a tool for $10 a month. So WeWantPicks.com, sign up, become a premium member. If you're going to play either DraftKings or bet on these fights, there's no reason to not go spend $10 a month there and get the best, basically, buffet of services you could get in this MMA space. I mean, it's unbelievable. $10 a month, WeWantPicks.com, go sign up. All right, so we have UFC Fight Night Houston this week, headlined by good old Sean Strickland and Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. Should be a pretty fun card overall. I was disappointed that it didn't fall on my weekend I get off, so I can't actually go to the fights, but it's nice to just pull up Paramount and watch them. You know, it's so far been a pretty good experience with them. I think top to bottom, it's a pretty solid card up and down. We have a few prospects like Jacoby Smith, Del Valle, and I don't know how to, John Paul. I'm not going to try and butcher his last name, but we have some pretty good prospects on the card. So top to bottom should be pretty good. Like always, this week we're going to go over my favorite play in the 9K range, my favorite play in the 8K range, and my favorite underdog who's priced under 8,000. So without further ado, let's hop on in. All right, so my favorite play in the 9K range is going to be Carli Judice. Fluffy's going to be the more obvious pick, but I think we're going to get Judice at like a fraction of the ownership. One, it's a women's MMA fight. They're always lower owned. But, I mean, she's fighting Miller, who she's like minus 600 now to beat. And she is just comparatively, there's less that can go wrong for her to lose than I think for Fluffy to lose. So the margin of error is, I guess she's more expensive. I guess she doesn't have the wrestling upside as Fluffy, but she averages 11 significant strikes per minute. And Miller has 36% striking defense. So she gets hit 2 out of every 3 times someone throws a punch at her. You do that on the average, if it goes the distance of 15 minutes, that's going to be almost 110 significant strikes she's going to absorb, just on an average. That's without getting an actual win inside the distance, which she has done. So Carli Judice looks like she should score another 100, 110 plus. If she gets an early finish against a very mediocre Miller, it could be first round, which could, 120-ish. But at a fraction of the ownership, that's why she's going to be my favorite play in the 9K range. So Carli Judice, my favorite play in the 9K range on DraftKings this week. All right, my favorite play this week in the 8K range is going to be good old Jeff Neal. He gets to fight Uros Medic, and Neal is coming off a loss to Carlos Prates where he got knocked out. However, he's kind of had like a murderer's row of opponents in the welterweight division. You go back to his last 5 fights. He beats Luque, then has to fight Shavkat, loses. Ian Gary loses. Beats RDA, who's one of the all-time greats in the UFC, and then loses to Prates on a crazy spinning elbow. He's fought some really tough people. I mean, his 3 losses are against guys in the top 6. So Medic is kind of meh. His chin isn't the best, and Neal is a pretty damn powerful striker. He has a 4-inch reach advantage. He definitely has more experience in the UFC, especially against the higher echelon of fighters in the welterweight division. So he averages over 100 DraftKings points in his wins. I think we're going to see another nice big knockout win to get Jeff Neal back on track. And Jeff Neal is going to be my favorite play in the 8K range this week. All right, my favorite play under 8K is going to be Punanelli Soriano. So this is one of those fights where he opens a favorite. It got heavily bet to where now Brahimaz is a favorite. It's like minus 140, 135-ish. So they're still, I think, decent value on taking Soriano. They're fairly evenly matched. The big difference is going to be like the output and DraftKings scoring you get, and Soriano wins. And 5 of his 6 UFC wins, he's scored 118 or more points, including 163 in one. So That's just insane upside at a price point of 7,900. And he's going up against someone who doesn't have great takedown defense. So as long as he can be the aggressor and initiate the wrestling offensively and get takedowns, he should come out on top. He also has a huge power advantage, in my opinion. He's coming off a TKO win 2 fights ago. And on the bookends of those 2 fights, his last fight, he had 4 takedowns, 13 minutes of control time, 163 strikes. In the fight before his knockout, he had 5 takedowns, 11 minutes of control, and 331 strikes, including 163 significant strikes. That's where he scored 168 points. So he has massive, massive DK scoring upside, and that's why my favorite play under 8K this week is going to be Punanelli Soriano. All right, guys, thank you again for tuning in. We'll be back every week. We have a UFC event. Make sure you head over to we1picks.com, sign up, become a premium member. Promo code ADP, once again, gets you 10% off of your first month, which makes it $9 a month. You get the next month of content for $9. Like, seriously, if you go to any other place that does projections or has an optimizer, it's a minimum of $60 to $70 a month. So you're getting all this for 1/6 of the price. Everything all in one. It's insane value. So we1picks.com, sign up, become a premium member. We will see you guys next week.